On my travels, it seems that where places, artists, audiences are engaged, that the arts are actually in rude health, even while coping with recession and funding cuts. It doesn't matter whether it's size and scale, publicly funded or not, storefront theatre in Chicago, Palais des Arts in Valencia, Tate London, etc. There's nothing wrong with audiences either. In a time of recession, reduced income, staycations, other coping strategies, they're seeking out-of-home experiences. We've got every opportunity to meet their needs, satisfy their appetites. We've got to communicate it in the right way. I think there's everything wrong. We've seen the research in Search for Shining Eyes in the US, Not for the Likes of You in the UK, work by Alan Brown, Andrew McIntyre, and we send out the wrong messages. They're not necessarily welcoming, reassuring, or persuasive. We've been too consumerist. Stephen Tunic's photograph for the Flanders Festival. Do we really want bums on seats? Why do we use derogative descriptions of valued attenders? Does it show everything wrong with our attitude to the people who we engage as audiences? Instead of the pejorative, we're actually seeking to win hearts and minds, and for people to engage us in a very personal and friendly way, so we achieve a relationship with them, not just a consumerist relationship. Who would have thought, after all the excitement of space exploration, we would see an end to the first generation of our ambitions in space so soon? It's easy to say, this isn't rocket science, but there is nothing permanent in life except change, and we have to respond to change, big or small, as a continuous process. I love this quote from a US Wild West federal judge. Do you recognise being bruised in a new place? Be ready and willing to tackle the vicissitudes and be bruised in that new place. Recognise this, Phil, Anne, James, David? To travel to the future, you have to ride the bicycle while inventing it. Every day is actually an experiment. None of us have lived through today before. I've never done Petra before. To travel forwards, we have to create the better bicycle. Institutionally, is it just me, with the coalition government, the insipid Jeremy Hunt, the lost the Block Arts Council, sorry Phil, a climate of cuts from government, from local authorities, sponsors, corporate donors, seems to be diminishing the kind of corporate spark? But maybe it's just charging up, getting ready to galvanise when the artists and audiences get angry enough about the state of our lives. Artists have always responded well to adversity. The teams around them have always responded well. Co-creativity between artists and audiences delivers the experience. So we've got to get our perspective right. Don't stand outside the organisation. Stand with the public, the potential audience. Understand who they are, what they see when they look at us and what we do. Fairly obvious, isn't it? Listen to people, talk to people, think about them as individuals, as real people. Include them in your thinking and planning. Include audiences in. Going back to, somebody said this equivalent before, good old Peter Brook in Empty Space, talking about Grotowski-Nato's Holy Theatre. The role of the audience, the onlooker, is partner with communication, a signal through the flames. Remember that partner. Polyclitus, all those years ago, largely established what we could do with human ergonomics and acoustics, so a larger number of people get together and enjoy something. We put a roof on, we don't piss in the seats anymore, but the interesting question is, what about the audience? What brought those people into that auditorium? What did they take out of that experience? Okay, Shakespeare continues that. Sorry, we're talking about theatre. It applies to lots of other art forms, music arts, visual arts, all things performative. What is fundamental to people's engagement with each? What is it they take out? Why did they go in the first place? Visited this recently. Fantastic theatre, Chorale Comedias. That's actually a surviving building that's been restored from the same time as Shakespeare. Yes, they've put a canvas roof on, not to keep the rain out, but it's very hot in Almagro. Same thing. The audiences for that period saw dramas reflecting the values that drama has reflected throughout time from Shakespeare. This is now obviously the Royal Shakespeare Company's, I think it's all their temporary theatres actually. What's their expectation today? Are we telling them stories? How are they responding? I think Alan Brown's research is something we need to understand, or the actual impact on individuals. So, we're starting to get my conclusion. Stop thinking of people as consumers. Start thinking of them as partners, friends, creators, co-collaborators. The yin and yang. The arts experience needs partners. The only real competition for the arts is time and attention and relevance. The only obstacles are created by the way we do things, the messages we put out, the exclusivity or elitism we create. Include the audiences in. We need them as partners. We have to be inclusive, open and transparent. My definition of audience development. Practice tailored, personalised communications, treat them as individuals. Create and build relationships. Practice, not preach, real audience development collaboratively and gain those partners. Thank you.